Was I
All right,
done?
Danna, you're on, so just be careful what you say right now. Hey, talk just for a second. I want to catch the level.
Okay, how is it? How does
Yeah,
it sound?
excellent,
Perfect.
excellent.
Okay, good.
All right. You're
Thanks,
good to
Frank.
go. You going back to my meeting?
All right, tell Charles and David I said hi.
Have fun. We'll do.
What was I going to do?
I didn't recognize you. Yeah. Good seeing you.
Nice seeing you too.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Did you get the excuse slip?
I did. I had to laugh about that one. That one was pretty cute.
Hysterical.
Pretty cute.
You brought it to me first. I said, "Oh, you need to take it to Danna."
I love it.
Somebody didn't put this down. Yeah, no, it's down too.
We always lower our chair before we leave, or else they'll slide in and.
Excuse me. Oh,
Bless you.
thank you. It's
It's
one of
all
our
good,
pet,
I'm sharing
one
that
of our
with you.
pet peeves. Oh, so you can get in and then you can scoot it up.
Right.
Yeah, and then when you leave, you
Lower it.
lower it again. And that keeps this level.
What's wrong?
That was acting up because of something you did last night.
Mm.
That's what I was trying to tell you last night.
Probably a full roll.
No, no, I just have a little dust got. I hope not. Get your head off.
Man, I mean, it was plumb full pack. There was
I tell you,
200
even
people.
though I got off the last time I was there, the whole, I think I was there.
Yeah.
See, Lewis, most of the day.
It's random draw. I mean, it doesn't matter where you actually sit. It's computer generated.
So you got eliminated at the first round, or?
They fill there's 12 courts, and they fill enough for 3 courts.
Last time I went, I got all the way to the end of the last part of the selection, and I was like number 14.
Yeah,
I think they collected,
definitely.
that they picked 13, and I was the 14th person. I'm like, whew.
That was
Well, I don't know how
close.
they did, but this time they drew for the first district court. They drew, they must have drawn 50 people. Okay, and that was for that one. Then they have another court,
Mhm.
and they drew 6 or 8 for that. And the third court didn't have anything, because those were the cases that the judge said, if you don't settle it this morning, then you're going to jury. And those cases all got settled before, so we were dismissed.
The last time I was up here, it just took forever because there were probably 50 or 60 people. But we had to listen to all the things
Oh, no, we didn't get that
and all
far.
the questioning.
We didn't.
And, I mean, we went through a full jury selection because of other stuff. And I thought it would be like that, but.
Yeah, no, they just, They
The
didn't.
time before, they called me to the front to the microphone to answer a question. I don't remember what it was. I was like, oh my God, what does this mean?
So I was pretty sure, I was gonna get selected for the last one. And then I looked down, they had this guy there that they were going to try, and they started telling me about it. All I could think of was, my little granddaughters, and I thought, I can't be friends with them. But the way they asked every question, I thought, they're just gonna go randomly pick, because the way they were asking the questions, there was no way we could get them.
She was saying there's now, this was from Montgomery County, and there's 500,000 people in Montgomery County now.
That-
That's what they were saying, and this is for this
And
one.
that's what they're estimating.
Then there's 2 other jury pools out there. That's where you can get involved. Even though you missed this one, you could get involved. Even year. 2014.
I do. I have notes here for y'all. this is basically how I'm gonna, would you pass one down? Here you go. Yeah, here, you're welcome to, well, no, I probably need to make notes. I'm gonna try to stick to this format. Hi, come on in. Now, I need y'all to stop me if you have questions or if you don't understand what I'm doing. Or if you have a question about something similar, let us know. We may get through this whole list, we may not. But I'm here for you always. If you need anything or if you need to go over this, if you need one-on-one, if you're working on a particular project, let me know. I'll be happy to help. There's so many things you can do in Excel. Many people will go through a list and manually try to pick out values and type them from one list to another list. Well, that increases your error ratio dramatically, okay? So you don't want to do that if you don't have to. In Excel, if you have, like many cases, many times I'll deal with a spreadsheet that has agents in it. So if I have their Trek license number in this spreadsheet and in this one, but I need information from this one in this one, I can move it simply by looking for that Trek license number. I don't copy and paste. It increases the error ratio. The chance that I will mess up the info increases dramatically if I'm copying and pasting. Now, if you've got 5 people and it's easier to copy and paste for most people than it would be to do a formula and transfer it. But you can. There are many times you'll deal with very large files that will overwhelm you a little bit. Like for instance, this is a Trek file that I downloaded last night just to give y'all an idea of the size of the files that you can come across. Okay, now this one is an actual Trek file of every person who is licensed with Trek. Inspectors, brokers, salespeople, deceased, inactive, everyone. It is a huge file. And one of the first things that I want to show y'all is how to figure out exactly how many people are listed in this spreadsheet. So I'm going to click below the tabs at the top, the descriptors, okay, license number, full name, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go to the first tab. I'm going to hit Control End and then my arrow down. Oops. Okay, I want to go back to the top, so I'm going to do Control Home. Now forgive me, I'm starting with a new laptop. Shift End arrow down. Shift End arrow down.
Not control.
Yeah, I said Control the first time. I apologize. I've been doing this for so long, I do it without thinking. And Shift End Control Down will take you to the very last value in that column. It'll highlight the whole thing.
And then control down and not arrow down.
Yep, Shift, Control, or no, I'm sorry, Shift, Home. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, Shift, End, arrow down.
Control down or arrow?
No, arrow down. Shift, End, arrow down.
What happened to the control down?
Yeah, that was just a mistake on my part, sorry.
Arrow down will take you to the last.
Yes, it'll take you to the last one. And as you see, it's highlighted it here. We'll try it again. Control Home will take you to the very top cell. Okay, so I'm going to do it again. I'm going to click in the first cell that has a value, Shift, End, arrow down. And you hold Shift the whole time. Shift, End, arrow down. Now, what this does, if you will look right down here, many people would try to figure out exactly how many values are highlighted, okay? But you don't have to. You don't have to add them up. Look right down here. There are 204,222 values in this 204,222 lines in this spreadsheet. Okay? Now, where does that become useful? How can I use that? These values will be down here. You can actually change them if you need to, but these are the most common values that you would use. For instance, if you wanted to know the value of just these cells right there. There are 7 cells. See, count 7. An average value of 20.14. And the sum of those values is 141. So if you're trying to quickly calculate in a spreadsheet, you know, how much did I do? Or how much were only the properties that were done in the Woodlands? You would hit your control bar, your control button, and then highlight just the ones that you want to add up.
What's, okay. What's the average? What's that?
The average of the values. If you notice, they're not the same values.
Oh, I see, 20, 21.
Right.
Okay.
So the average,
7 people, and the sum was 142 what?
the sum of all of those 20, 21, 21, 20, 20, 20, 20, if you add all of those up, they come up to 142.
142 what?
She's just using that as an
I'm just using it as an example.
I didn't know what the sum represented though.
These numbers actually, I'm going to do Control Home and go back to the top. These numbers actually represent the license status.
How many years?
No, this actually tells us what the status of those people is. And like I say, I pulled this spreadsheet. Exactly.
Each number represents something different.
Yeah. 20 means that they are current and active. 21 means that they're current and inactive.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Hi. Now I've got a spreadsheet here that I'm just kind of playing with. I pulled it from Trek, just to give y'all an idea. Many people get into Excel, and are you having a problem?
Yeah, my control home went to back to home.
Let me see.
Control home, 104,000 still.
That's very odd. Let's do this. Let's hit escape, because it may actually think that you're doing something.
You unlocked it.
What do you mean too?
Just a blank. See, it's just.
That's just
I'll
the
get out
oddest
and I'll
home.
I'll just do the-
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I want y'all to remember when, excuse me, when you're dealing with Excel, is that Excel can overwhelm itself quite easily. So if you're getting in there and something that you're normally doing is not working, turn your computer off, turn Excel off, and restart the whole thing, because it will get very buggy and it will behave badly. It will not do what it's supposed to do, okay? So you just have to restart it. All right. Now, first thing I want to show y'all how to do is basically you've got a spreadsheet up. If you want to save it, you're going to go up to File. You can do two things. You can either hit the little floppy disk. Hey, Jim, come on in. You can hit the little floppy disk up at the top, the picture, or you can do File, Save As. Now, as a realtor, many times you're going to be importing stuff or exporting stuff. And many times it will ask you to do a CSV file or a comma delimited file, okay? You can save something in an Excel spreadsheet as a comma delimited file, okay? Hey, come on in. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our computer. We're going to save it on our desktop, okay? Oh, yeah, can I have one more of those? Gracias. This is just a basic follow along. Okay, so if you needed to save it as an Excel file, it's already chosen that, Save As Type. You see right here? It's chosen Save As a Type Excel Workbook. So we want to change it to a CSV file or a text file so we can import it to like Outlook or to Top Producer, anything like that, okay? So you're going to drop that down, the file type, drop it down, and we're going to go to CSV, comma delimited, okay? Now if you were doing a CSV to a Mac file or to a Mac computer, here's the Macintosh version here. Okay, as you can see, there are a lot of options that you can do. Most of these types you are not going to play with. I highly recommend that you don't play with them. You will confuse yourself and the computer. Okay, so if you save it as a CSV file, comma delimited, hit save. It should come up and say, some of the features in your workbook won't work with this type of file. That's because a text file or a comma delimited file is a very, very basic file. It doesn't like that I have filters up here right now. It doesn't like that I have formatting or anything pretty. So do you want to keep that format? Yes. Just ignore it and go on, okay? But that's how you would do it, how you would save something to a CSV file to export or import into another process, okay? We can go through and you were asking about copying and pasting. There are, let's see here. This is a much smaller file. We can do this. If we want to copy this and paste it, you highlight what you want to copy, okay? Then you would right-click, copy, and then I want to make it on another tab. You may or may not have noticed that there are tabs down here, okay? So you can build basically a workbook. It's just like having a notebook with different pages. And you can go on for, you probably won't max out one of these, but you can go on for hundreds of tabs across, okay? So I'm going to go to the next one, and I'm going to right-click and paste. Now I have different options. I can paste it exactly as I have it right here, or I can paste it just as values, which leaves my formatting behind. Watch this Excel at the top. Remember how I had, oops, sorry. Let's try that again. Copy, and I'm going to come over here, paste. I can paste it like it is now with Excel formatted this way, or I can just do the values. Notice how the Excel goes back over that way. If I had formulas, I could paste simply the formulas so that they would carry over and I would have the same formulas on each sheet. Or I could invert them. Notice how on my normal spreadsheet, everything is this way. But if I had realized that I messed up and I actually wanted all those values to go across the top instead, then I would come over here to transpose and it would invert everything. So there's no need to retype everything, okay? And yes, I know that this might not make sense, or why you would ever use that might not make sense. What I need you to know is that it's possible so that you don't spend 45 minutes retyping something. All I need you to do is remember that it's possible and then go, oh, wait a minute, how did I do that again? And I'll be happy to tell you. You can call me, whatever. It'll work very easily. Now, these other ones you're probably not going to get involved in. This one is formatting. That would copy if I wanted to make, if I had gone through and made my page pretty and I wanted to copy each page the same way, I could copy the pretty, the bold, the formatting, the large text, any of that. I could copy and paste it over and over again, okay? Rather than doing it. Yes. Okay, but I'm just going to paste the values. Okay, so now I've got the values, which is the way I had it over here. I'm going to come down to this tab and I'm going to rename it. I'm going to right-click on it and I'm going to go to rename. And I'm going to say extra sheet. I can rename it whatever I want. It is picky about you putting extra characters in there. It doesn't like the name Remax with the little format slash. But, you know, you just work with it. There are some things it will take, many things it won't. Okay? Now, this is a cool trick that you will use over and over again. Okay, I have 2 sheets, and I want to look at both of them at the same time. I'm going to go up to View, and I'm going to say Arrange All, Windows of the Active Workbook, and what did it do to me? New window, View, Arrange All. That's what I did. I didn't open a new window. There we go. So now you can look at both of them at the same time.
So you have View, Arrange All,
View, New window,
New Window.
Arrange All, Windows of the Active Workbook. Okay, so I've got the original one here, and then I've got the other one here.
That last one was Windows of the Active Notebook?
Yes. View, New window. I opened up a new window so that I could, 2 of them side by side, and then Arrange All, Windows of Active Workbook. Now, if I wanted them to be on top of each other, I would hit horizontal. And there they are. But I don't like it that way. To me, that's confusing. So I'm going to go Arrange All, Tiled. Okay? But that I find to be very helpful so that you're not trying to click back and forth and copy stuff. And this way you could literally copy stuff back and forth.
Tiled going up and down?
Tiled is side by side.
Side by side. Oh,
If you wanted it, View, here we go, Arrange All, you could do Cascade, and see they're right on top of each other. Okay? Arrange All, Tiled. Okay, now you can do it with a different workbook as well. Okay, if I wanted to get rid of this one, I could come over here to my desktop, and I've got a San Antonio Trek file. Okay, so now I'm going to go View, Arrange All. I don't need a new window because I have 2 windows open already. I'm going to uncheck the windows of the active workbook because I don't want the same workbooks side by side. I want 2 different workbooks side by side. And there they are. Okay, so
Is there any chance of deleting what you've done by mistake?
yes. But Excel has saved, you've got an undo up here. Okay? The most important thing when working in Excel, I find, is saving often. Because, and if you're going to get creative, if you're going outside the box and you're trying to do something you've never done before, save a copy of it. So save your file, get your data how it is, and then do File, Save As, and make a copy somewhere else. You can always go back and save it over your file. But if you're playing, the chances that you are going to mess up are high. And you can screw up your data. So it's a matter of what you're comfortable with, but I will save it often, and I will save a, I'll make a copy so that I don't mess up. Okay? Now, let's see. We can format. One of the most common problems that I see people do is they'll try to print a spreadsheet that looks like this. Okay? And as you can see, the last name is chopped off, the first name is chopped off, the office name is chopped off. Okay? There's different things that you can do. First of all, we're going to make them all the length that they need to be, all in one fell swoop. Okay? So we're going to go and highlight all of the columns, and then I'm going to come over here to the last column on the far right side. See how it turns into a line right there? And I'm going to double click. And now suddenly you can read everything that's in there. Because what that tells it to do is to stretch out to the longest length.
You highlight all the columns and then you double click.
That's right.
That little triangle up in your left-hand corner, below, just above the one on the first line, last name,
Yes?
if you hit that, doesn't that do the same thing?
No, that highlights the entire page.
Okay.
But you could,
Well, stretch everything out if you, but then you gotta go through a different procedure, don't you?
well, there are different ways,
Yeah.
okay? You could, and I hit undo to show y'all what to do. That you can go over here and actually manually grab it and stretch them, okay? But what happens is you end up with every column the same size. So you've got a lot of wasted space. And we don't want to do that. So now I've stretched it out and it's too far, it's too big, it's not on one page, I can't see it. So I want to fix it. I still have them highlighted, so I'm going to go back over to any of the highlighted columns. On the right-hand side, I'm going to double-click, and poof, they're back down to where they need to be. Okay. Now, I'm going to go over here to last name. I'm going to do Shift, Home, no. Shift, End, arrow down, go to the last one. Okay. Save as desktop. This is a comma delimited file now, okay? I don't want it to stay a comma delimited file. I want to change it to an Excel spreadsheet, okay? So I've changed it. I've gone to File, Save As, and now I'm going to Save As Type Excel Workbook. And I'm just saving it to my desktop.
So that's what you do to save it, like you said?
Mm-hmm.
And that's in PDF form?
No,
No, just like
it's
it
just. an Excel.
That was in a comma delimited form, and I saved it to an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. Now I've got Houston results here. What I did is I went and downloaded from the Main Street website, which is remax.net. I went to Find an Agent, and I looked up agents in Houston, agents in San Antonio, and agents in Dallas and Austin. And now I'm going to combine those files. Okay, so I'm going to go Shift, End, arrow down, so it takes me to the very last one. I still have my finger on the Shift button, and I'm going to arrow over. So now I've got everything. Okay, I've highlighted everything I want to copy. Right click, copy. Now I want to go to the other spreadsheet. I'm going to minimize that one. Where'd it go? San Antonio results. I'm going to click right here, which is the first column, first empty cell. Right click, and I'm going to paste my values. Now, what does that do for me? It gives me San Antonio and Houston in the same spreadsheet. Now, what can I do with it? Because it's a long spreadsheet. Now we've got 583 people in the same spreadsheet. So that's a little more difficult to look at if you're trying to figure out who works in the 77040 area, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to hit Data. We're going to apply a filter so that we can look at it. Now that filter will take the first column of data, okay? So I want to look at only agents who are located, pick a zip code, San Antonio or Houston. 77382, let's see. I didn't pick a single one. Oh yeah, that's right, it wouldn't be Houston, that's right. Okay, so Houston 77047, let's do that one. Okay. And there they are. In the 77047 area code, there are 46 agents. This is helpful when you're trying to. You can go on Main Street, download one of these spreadsheets when you're trying to find an agent you want to do business with in another state, another country. One time I had to go through and find an agent in Australia, which was a chore because you go through and there's like 1,000 agents, but they all operate on one side of Australia. Nobody goes to the western side of Australia. There's nothing there except kangaroos, yeah. And it was, it was very interesting. Okay, now I'm going to clear out my filter because I want all my values back there. Okay. So now the other problem that I have noticed that people have is they try to print a spreadsheet, but it prints across 12 million pages and you get one value on one page and yeah. Okay, so this is how we're going to do it. We're going to go to page layout. We're going to start up here at the top corner, shift end arrow down because I want to highlight everything that I want to print. Okay, so I still have my hand on the shift button. I'm going to go across and highlight all of the columns that I want to print. Okay, so you see we're down to cell 584 or line 584 all the way over to column L. All right, now we're at page layout. I'm going to set my print area, which means I'm going to tell it I want to print all of this. Now if I had stuff on there that I didn't want it to print, I could do print area, clear print area, and I could just highlight, for instance, name and office information. Okay? And you can tell it what particularly you want to print or what you don't want to print. Okay, so I've got all of it here. I'm going to go print area, set print area. Now I want it to print exactly the way I want it to print. Okay, so I'm going to go here to scale to fit. You see this little arrow down here at the bottom? Don't do that. I'm going to click that, and this page setup comes up. Okay. Now it's a very confusing page. You can tell it you want to do landscape or portrait. Our information's kind of wide, so I'm going to tell it that I want it to do it landscape. If I had just a tiny portion of a page, I could tell it that I wanted it to boost it up to like 200%, so that that tiny little bit of the page would now be huge. Or in this case, I want it to fit to 1 page wide. It's not going to fit on 1 page tall. So I'm going to tell it 10 pages. I'm guessing, because I don't know. And then we're going to hit print preview. Now, that's okay. That's not bad. It could be a little nicer. We could get a little more space in here. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to tell it, cancel. I'm going to tell it I want it to go to 15 pages tall. Ah, that's a little better. Okay? So it's taken all of our data, everything that you told it you wanted to print, and it's given you what you are looking at. Okay? What you want to print. Now, the problem here is that it's not going to print those columns on the second page. See how the second page you have to guess what it is? Okay? And please forgive me as I stumble around this. I'm trying to get used to this new laptop as well. I can tell it to print that, and it'll print. Okay, it won't because the thing's out of paper. All right. Or I can go and I want to tell it that I want these columns at the top of every page. I want those columns to carry over at the top of every page. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to Sheet Options. And you see here it says Print Titles, Rows to Repeat at Top. Okay, this little thing right here is what we like to call an escape hatch. Okay? It's going to take me out of this little thing and it's going to take me right back to my spreadsheet so I can tell it what I want. So I clicked my escape hatch. I'm going to tell it I want this row to repeat at the top of every single page. And I'm going to hit my escape hatch and go back, and then I'm going to print preview. There's my row at the top of page 1, and now you'll see it's on every single page. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Yep, the thing I just can't figure out is how to get back to my spreadsheet. There we go. All right. Now, if I decided, like these values, these columns right here are blank. I don't have anything in them, so I don't want them on my page. So I'm going to highlight those 2 columns, and I'm going to right-click and hide. I don't want to delete them because I don't want to mess up the spreadsheet. Okay? If I decide to bring in Austin and Dallas, I'll need those fields because they may have them. So I'm just going to hide them for right now and look at these, okay? Now you can do many different things. You can look at, one thing that people need to do in a spreadsheet is figure out which fields are blank and which fields aren't. You need to know which ones are blank so that you can figure them out. So we're going to click on zip codes, and I'm going to scroll to the bottom. There's no blank fields. If there was a blank field, it would be here at the bottom, and it would say blanks. Okay? But under phone numbers, I know I do have blanks. So I'm going to unselect all. I'm going to go here, and I want to only see the blanks. So all of these people, shift, end, arrow down, 87 people in this spreadsheet don't have a phone number. Okay? Now I'm going to go to Data, and I'm going to clear out my filter. All right, let's see. Did that make sense on the printing the page?
Okay. On the printing page, if you have lots